My Uncle Bosie was a hell of an athlete, they tell me, when he was a kid. And he became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones. And he got shot down in New Guinea. And they never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
I don't know why he didn't just tell the story about Uncle Bosie and leave out the last part. This just makes me very angry. We're in the middle of a fight here for democracy, and not everybody's on your side, Joe. Some people are either going to stay home because they don't like your stories sometimes, or God forbid they're on the other guy who is falling asleep in a New York courtroom getting yelled at by the judge, and there are unconfirmed reports he's also passing gas. I said it. You got a former president with flatulence inside a New York courtroom, and now you have the current president. Why did you have to talk about cannibalism? When my Republican friend phoned me yesterday morning and mentioned the story, I said, stop. I'm not doing this with you. Because it's always the same thing. It always starts the same way. I said, this can't be true. Can't be true. And I said, I'll get back to you once I do independent research because I can't trust your side. Too much comes from Fox and the smug guy. What's his name? Jesse. Per the AP. You see, I then started Googling. The AP came up. Go to Reuters. My God, this time my Republican friend. Say what now? And you saw the video. Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister, James Marape, accusing President Joe Biden of disparaging the South Pacific island nation by implying his uncle had been eaten by cannibals. Eaten by cannibals there during World War II. Marape said in a statement on Sunday that Biden appeared to imply his uncle was eaten by cannibals. Okay. I mean, they're friends, but the guy had to say something. He had to issue a statement. And this is, again, why couldn't you tell the story about Uncle Bosie without mentioning cannibalism? And then none of this would have to be. Now I have to do the story on Indisputable. President Biden spoke at a Pennsylvania War Memorial last week about his Army Air Corps aviator uncle, 2nd Lieutenant Ambrose J. Finnegan Jr., whom he said was shot down over Papua New Guinea, which was a theater of heavy fighting. Quote, they never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea, Biden said, referring to the country's main island. Now, do you see the people behind him? Particularly the one man with a little bit of red and the stripe on his collar. He's thinking the same thing I just said. Sir, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And now I just want to hold up my steelworkers, my pro-union sign. Why are you doing this? The woman seems to pity the president. That could not have been in the teleprompter. And I'm sorry, sometimes you got to stick with the teleprompter. I'm the queen of not using the teleprompter. But sometimes we all get a little, loopy, blood sugar low, whatever it is. And it has nothing to do with age. Blood sugar. And you just start saying things. And when I do it on this show, what you don't see behind the scenes, they hold up a card. Move on. Move on. You can't do that to the president of the United States. He's not paying attention anyway. You saw the man and the woman behind him. So now there's got to be more. President Biden's remarks may have been a slip of the tongue. However, my country does not deserve to be labeled as such, Marape said in a statement provided by his office to the AP. That was on Monday. World War II was not the doing of my people. However, they were needlessly dragged into a conflict that was not their doing. Marape added, the prime minister there. Okay. So on Friday, this is why, when Fox is involved, I have to fact check things. I'm not just going to take, and this is a good friend of mine, but I'm not going to take his word. What are you talking about cannibalism? You can understand why I'd be skeptical. I'm fighting Atlanta traffic, trying to get home from dropping my daughter off at school. And I don't want to hear this nonsense. This is why I told him I'm not doing this with you. Fox News' Peter Doocy asked White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre about Biden's claim. Watch.
Why is President Biden saying that his uncle Bosie was eaten by cannibals?
So, I answered this question yesterday. I believe I've seen some clips on your network about me answering this question. I don't have much to say beyond what I said to some of your colleagues. Look, the president had a emotional and I think a symbolic moment. He had an opportunity as president to honor his uncle's service in uniform. He had an opportunity to be there as president, to speak to the bravery of his uncle, and not just his uncle, but many U.S. service members that put their lives on the line on behalf of this country.
Why is he saying that his uncle was eaten by cannibals? That is a bad way to go.
He lost his life. It's not. Look. I'm not. We should not make jokes about this.
It's not.
Wait.
President Biden said that his uncle was eaten by cannibals.
I mean, your last line is it's for a laugh. It's for a funny statement. You have a president that lifts up our U.S. troops, our American veterans every day, who thinks about them, who actually thinks they're all heroes, and they are. And you have a former president who disrespects that, who doesn't honor that. Said it as president, suckers or losers. That's what he said.
Where did the cannibalism come from?
I think you're missing the point. The point is you have a president that lifts up American veterans, who lifts up our U.S. service members.
Now, as much as the Nepo baby frat boy, Peter Doocy at Fox, gets on my nerves, and probably yours too. He did it for a laugh, Cannibalism. Let me see how many times I can say it. It's not working for me. His humor, his brand. It's not just because he irritates me. He's just not funny. But I will say this. He was right to go back to where did the cannibalism come from? And I feel sorry for the press secretary here because what do you want me to say? I had flashbacks of Herschel Walker, and that's not fair. But if you're the press secretary and someone's talking about werewolves, vampires, what do you say? Cannibalism. What do you say? She did the best she could. I think in this case, she did the best she could. All right, so Biden's account that Uncle Finnegan's plane was shot down was not supported either. Not by military records. Finnegan was a passenger on a Douglas A-20 Havoc transport plane. It crashed into the ocean after both engines failed. That was on May 14th, 1944. According to a Pentagon report, one crew member survived, but no trace was found of the plane or 3 other people on board, including Lieutenant Finnegan. Marape's statement was released on the same day he met China's foreign minister to discuss building closer relations. Marape also called on the U.S. to find its war dead in Papua New Guinea's jungles and to clean up the wreckage of the war. I mean, he's saying, you all left a mess around here. Why should we go looking for it? The remains of World War II lie scattered all over Papua New Guinea, including the plane that carried President Biden's uncle. So should Associated Press with the reporting here. The theaters of war in PNG and Solomon Islands are many and littered with the remains of World War II, including human remains, plane wrecks, shipwrecks, tunnels, and bombs. Our people daily live with the fear of being killed by detonated bombs of World War II, the Prime Minister added. Now, look, what I would do here is, because, my same Republican friend said to me, I said, why can't they rein him in? Like, this has got to stop talking about the president and this cannibalism nonsense, off script. And he said, well, I think when that happened before, the president was upset and started, telling people off behind the scenes. I got a way to solve that too. The first lady can handle him. Go through the first lady. But what we're not going to do is continue to talk this talk. Not in these times. Not with the election so close and there being just 2 choices and not everybody's on board with. I need you to stop talking this talk about cannibalism. And I would have said, sir, let me get you alone. And I understand it doesn't work like that. Okay. He's the president. He's POTUS. You're serve at the pleasure of the president. But I would have said, I need to see you in a closed door meeting. And then you just got to tell him. He can fire you, sure. What I'm not going to do is keep doing this with you. Can we put up the picture one more time that shows the gentleman with the stripes on the collar holding, he just wants to support his union. Why are you saying these things? Now look at this. And the one guy screened right in the back is trying to pretend he's not here. You're in the picture, sir. You were there when this was said. It's documented. As the guy with the Santa beard tries to peek from behind the president's head to say, did he really say that? Yes, he did. Uncle Boozy was eaten by cannibals. So we can complain all we want about the Jesse Waters of the world and Peter Ducey, the Nepo baby. Why are you shooting yourself in the foot? And by the way, the plane was not shot down. Even the Pentagon, everyone is so tired of this nonsense and some of these ramblings. And I'm not suggesting that it's as far as, this propaganda. He's so old, he's so feeble. Again, the other guy's falling asleep. And there are reports, unconfirmed, we're working to confirm them, that indeed, full of gas inside the courtroom where he cannot leave. And apparently others can't escape whatever he's pushing. Okay. I don't know how Doc feels about this, but he said this story needs to be in. He's fair. This is a show where we don't play favorites. And when he criticizes the administration, it's for good cause. I want to talk to him about this and find out his personal feelings. When the prime minister of Papua New Guinea has to issue a statement because they're friends. They're friends and allies. And say, I didn't appreciate you saying that we ate your uncle over here. We didn't eat your uncle. And clean up your mess. Scattered everywhere. Scattered everywhere. To, Lieutenant Boozy and all the other people who died in so many wars, we salute you. We salute the ultimate sacrifice. Not about you. Somebody give him a sign. Mr. President, the election's only a few months out, and we cannot afford you to go off prompter again like this.